Good afternoon, YouTubers. Tsquare here with Tsquare Talks. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. It is the beginning of the week. I'm sure some people out there are like, oh man, back to work, back to the grind. And yeah, that can happen. That can be like that. But we got an exciting video today. We're going to talk a little bit about gold. I had a few subscribers ask me kind of questions about why I'm not such a big fan of gold. Yes, I have gold. You guys have seen me do gold package openings. I like gold, so we're going to talk a little bit about gold today and my thoughts behind it. And it's not meant to diss anybody that stacks gold, but it is meant to make you think about gold for a quick minute. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in. But before we do, please take a quick minute, hit the thumbs up button. Usually my view rating on Mondays are horrible, so I really need y'all's support to hit that thumbs up button for me. That way we can get this video out there. That way YouTube will kind of work the algorithm a little bit in my favor. Share it. We're trying to close in on 10K. Had a rough weekend with views. I think everybody was just busy, or the videos just, maybe were too long, or who knows, over the weekend. We didn't really hit big numbers over the weekend. So here we go. With that being said, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. So gold. A lot of people out there have been stacking silver. I've been stacking silver. I've got a little bit of gold. I first started stacking silver before I started stacking anything, before I started doing anything. I was stacking silver. I wasn't even prepping at the time. I started out very first thing stacking silver. Then I got into gold. Then I got into prepping. And then I really got into preparing for major stuff to happen. Now, why do I put priority on silver over gold? Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys this. This is a 1 ounce gold eagle. This happens to be a 1999. It's not in maybe the best shape. It's got some scratches on it. When I bought this, it was just in like a little flip. I would handle it because I was new to it and I just loved the way it felt at the time. But I want to show you guys something to really make people think about the price difference and the gold to silver ratio. So this is a 1 ounce of gold. To put that into perspective on how much difference it is, the only way I can do that is I have to kind of show you guys the two stacks. And some people are going to be like, whoa. Now you guys know, obviously, gold is a lot more expensive. It's a lot smaller. That's one of the things I do like about it. So that's just 15 ounces right there. That brings it up to 30. We still haven't equaled this yet. That right there will bring it up to 45. That right there brings it up to 47, 48, 49, well, let's see here, 60. So we got 60 right there. We still haven't even equaled this. I'd have to add another 20 ounces, which means I'd probably have to pull out a couple of these big tubes, either another tube or we'll take a couple 10-ounce bars. So what I want people to see, and don't mind the prices because I bought these when it was cheap. You ought to see my video that I'm going to be posting up later in the week on gold with some original receipts when I first started buying gold. It's going to blow your mind. We'll turn it this way so no one questions it. So look at that. Look at the difference in that. That right there is 80 ounces of silver. 80. This is 1 ounce of gold. Now the reason I'm showing you this and the reason I'm more for silver, if let's say you just, I don't know, you just found out something major's going on, they're starting to ramp up food shortages, maybe you found out late, maybe you found out after everybody's already hitting up the stores, maybe the power went out, the grid went down, it's a possibility. Food's getting more expensive if you're lucky enough to even find it. The whole pandemic thing we at least were able to find food. But what happens if something major? Maybe we can no longer get oil. We depleted our oil supplies, our strategic stockpile reserve, and you know what? Lo and behold, they're not sending us anymore. They don't want our dollars. You've got to trade for stuff you need. What do you think is going to be easier for you to trade? This 1 ounce of gold? I'm sure everybody out there would take this 1 ounce of gold off your hands, or 80 ounces of silver. Maybe you got a couple 10-ounce bars. Maybe you got some 5-ounce bars. Here just happens to be 61s and 2 10s. That equals 80. Chances are, if you go somewhere with this, they're going to want the whole thing. And, you know, I hear this time and time again, oh, you can't eat silver and you can't eat gold. Well, you're right, you can't eat it. But anybody is going to want it, especially in some sort of a financial collapse, a dollar collapse, any kind of, I'll say, power outage, grid down scenario. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You would probably maybe want to rather have food, but chances are the people that have food will have more than they can eat. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say I go outside and I butcher a cow. I can't eat a whole cow. I can't preserve a whole cow. If you've been prepping for a while, maybe you've prepped a few 5-gallon buckets of salt. I know I have. I think salt is a very valuable thing to have on hand. Will I ever use it? I'll probably never use 100 pounds of salt. No. However, it's in 5-gallon buckets. It's in airtight Mylar bags. It's got some oxygen absorbers in there, and it just sits in the buckets in a storage unit. And at some point, it could be very valuable. But let's just say, you know, you've got that, but you don't have that. Someone out there is going to have a cow, and they're not going to have the salt to preserve it. With that being said, what can you trade to get some of that meat? They can't keep it. They can't keep it all. Some people are going to say, oh, they're going to eat it. They're not going to be able to eat 400, 500 pounds of beef. They're not going to be able to preserve it, most likely. If the grid goes down, people are not prepared for it. And if they can't preserve it, all they can do is trade some off to friends, give some to their family members, and eat some and try to bunker down and make this work. They'll probably know that if they smoke it, it may not need to be refrigerated for, depends on the time of the year, depends on, everybody's in a different position. But what I'm getting at is it's going to be a whole lot easier to trade. Hey, look, you throw me, you know, a few pounds of steak and I'll give you this. You know, how do you feel about, you know, give me 4 pounds of beef. It can be whatever, you know, any cut. I'm not real picky. Maybe a rump roast, maybe some hamburger meat, something. And you'll probably honestly get more than 4 pounds for an ounce of silver. Because at that point, silver is going to be the only money that people will trust. If the dollar collapses, they're going to want gold and silver. That's what people are going to fall back to. So let's just hypothetically say, though, we'll say 5 pounds for easy math for this 1 ounce of silver. But let's say you've got 80. 80 times 5 is what, 400 pounds? They're not going to give you 400 pounds of beef, since a cow probably has 400 or 500 pounds of beef, maybe. And you're not going to get it all. Which means if you're sitting on this 1 ounce gold coin, what are they going to give you? They might give you 100 pounds maybe. They're probably not going to go much over that. Which means you're going to get more in trade having smaller units. Now, I know some people will say, well, you can buy gold. You can buy, you know, the smaller coins of gold, maybe like this. Those are just 1/10. So it'll take 10 of these right here to equal this. And that's great, too, if you've done that. But a lot of people, you know, don't like the premiums on the smaller stuff because there is higher premiums on this stuff. I mean, if you were to buy 10 of these right now, you're going to probably pay roughly $2,500 $400, depending on where you buy it from. If you're picking up the sales, I was about ready to say the sale that I got the other day from Universal Coin and Bullion, but I can't because there was a limit on it. So maybe you'll pay $2,400. Maybe you'll pay $240 a piece for these. However, something like this, I mean, you guys can put down where you guys got yours from, but maybe $2,200. But what I want people to really realize is, you know, at 80 to 1 right now, now this ratio has changed. We've seen it go all the way up to 126 to 1. There were people buying. I was one of them people. I bought gold, you know, when I could have bought 126 ounces of silver for the same price as the 1 ounce of gold. But on the flip side, the amount of space that it takes is a big factor. And then these being in plastics makes it even more of a factor. It's going to be really hard to trade something like this in a major collapse. If you're buying precious metals to prep, well, first of all, hopefully you're prepping with beans, rice, water, supplies. I've heard tools. That's a pretty important thing, having some extra tools on hand that you can use that ain't power tools. Maybe first aid kits, maybe medicines, maybe batteries, some people have said. There's a lot of good things you should be prepping before precious metals. But once you get into the precious metals, silver, I think, is going to be better. When you see them both go up, you might see silver go up 3% in one day and see gold go up 1.5% in one day. That means you essentially made more money dollar for dollar. Now, yes, I understand if you've got 1 ounce of silver and 1 ounce of gold, well, I'd rather have the 1 ounce of gold. But unfortunately, well, fortunately, actually for us, because a lot of us are still accumulating, 80 ounces to 1, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. I want the 80 ounces. And this is going to be easier to trade with a lot of different people. Hey, I need a couple pounds of meat. Hey, let me get some of them tomatoes out of your yard. Hey, let me get some of that, I don't know, corn that you have growing over there. Maybe we can work out some kind of deal on corn. Oh, man, you got smoked sausage? Heck yeah, I'll trade you something for that. Hey, you got fish. You went out fishing and you caught a bunch of fish. I'll trade you that for some of it. You ain't going to be able to eat it all. You know, I know people will prefer the whole food over gold and silver, and I understand that, but you got to keep in mind that they're not going to be able to use everything they got. How many times have you gone out fishing, gone out and got something, and it was just more than you can eat? I'll give you a prime example. I did a YouTube video where we went crabbing. I think I pulled like 80 or 90 crabs in a day. Well, what do you do with all them crabs? You can't keep them all. I gave some away to friends. I ate some. We did all kinds of stuff with them. It's going to be that similar situation, but now if you factor in that extra factor of the grid down or a power outage or something major, you need to be able to trade some of that resources. And with that being said, that's where gold and silver comes in. If they don't trust the dollar at that point. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you if a hurricane hits and the power goes down, people will still trust the dollar. But if something major happens where it does not look like the grid's going to come back up, maybe we have a solar flare, maybe the dollar collapsed and no one wants it anymore, maybe we got hit with an EMP. These are scenarios that the power's off and it's probably going to stay off for a little while. People are not going to trust the dollar. I've seen people that prep and they want to save dollar bills and $5 bills and $10 bills in a box, and they say, I'll have cash if things get ugly. Some people bury it in the park. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do, but with precious metals, they keep going up in value. And that's why it's going to be an exciting video later in the week when I show you guys some original receipts that's going to blow your mind when you see them. You're probably going to feel bad that you didn't stack back then when I was stacking. So when I first started stacking, just like I feel bad when I find out what people paid when they first started stacking at $400 for one of these coins, $5 for one of these, you know, so something to think about. I just wanted you guys to realize why I'm so dedicated to silver as opposed to gold. Now, gold is great. If the economy keeps going the way it's going, nothing bad happens. This is going to go up in value. This will go up in value too, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be eager to buy this. Even if it goes to $10,000, you're not going to have a hard time selling it. Why? Because at that point, millionaires and billionaires are going to see inflation on the wall. When things get ugly like 2008, when we had our credits downgraded and you saw these little we buy gold, we buy silver shops popping up all over, they know there's a spread involved in it. That spread is what drives precious metals. You buy it for maybe spot, you sell it for 5% over spot. You make 5%. Well, 5% on $2,000, you're talking $100. You know, and so there's room to make money no matter the price. So with that being said, I thank y'all for watching. I don't want the video to get too long. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up. Help me out. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. You guys have a great night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.